everyone, Mrs. Spatola here. Let's check our homework from last night. Yesterday we focused on multiplying and dividing by 10, 100, and 1000. So just take the time right now and check your answers. And then for the reasoning, you can pause. For the reasoning, you can go ahead and notice that the answer to number 15, what number do you need to multiply by 100 to get the same result as 16 and 2/10? That's a divided by 10, explain. So if multiplying by 100, you would need to multiply 100 times 0 and 162 10,000ths. And how did I get that answer? Well, I kind of worked it backwards. So if you take a look, you notice that it has to end, the answer for this one here, for 16 and 2/10 divided by 10, is actually 1 and 62 hundredths. So in order to get that, I need to multiply a number, and I have to move the decimal 2 places to the right because it has to get bigger. So in order to wind up with an answer of 1 and 62 hundredths. So if you work it backwards, all you had to do was kind of scoop it the other way. I'm moving over here, 1, 2, and you are done. Now let's look at today's lesson. So today's lesson is going to focus on application of all operations with decimals. How can you identify the math operation in word problems? Well, first we have the do now, and the do now says, what are at least 3 strategies you could use to solve a word problem? Well, we've been talking about this a lot in class, and one of the first major things that you could do to solve a word problem is to identify the what. What's the first thing? We've been talking about this a lot in class. The first thing you need to identify in a word problem is the good. The first one is identify the question. Boys and girls, you can circle any keywords, you can circle numbers, but if you don't know what the question is, you're not going to know what information is going to be important. So always identify the question. After that, then you could pick a couple of other things, and these are in no particular order. So I'm just going to put little bullets here. You could highlight or identify keywords. Okay, so I'll put down keywords. Okay, keywords, they will also help you with the operation. Are there keywords that tell me to add, subtract, multiply, divide? Also, maybe some numbers. Okay, maybe some numbers in the problem. There are other strategies also. You could get rid of information that you don't need, so maybe useless information. And then there are a bunch of other ones, and if you have any additional ones, please be sure to list them and share them with us in class. And if you take a look over here, we have some pretty bad math humor. This is called dog math. And it says, if I have 3 bones and Mr. Jones takes away 2, how many fingers will he have left? That's just really bad math jokes. All right, so let's get into the word problems. What I'm going to ask you to do for this page and the next page, I'm going to ask you to pause the video. Try them on your own first. So do the problem and then start the video. After the answer is complete, then start the next problem. But pause the video in between each one and try to do the problem first. Good luck. These are questions that you may see on your upcoming exam. Okay, so let's take a look at number 1. Kim multiplied 8 times 0 and 952 hundredths and got 761 and 6/10. Is Kim correct? Well, if I just simply use estimation or rounding, I can see, if I round them, that 8 times 1 is about 8. Okay, it's about 8. So to get an answer of 761, that would definitely not be correct. So it is not correct. So Kim put the decimal in the wrong place. Kim needs to practice her math. Now go on and do number 2. Pause the video. Okay, so if you take a look at number 2, Mrs. Gelderman makes $8.25 an hour baking cookies. How much will she have made if she worked 9 hours this week? Okay, so first of all, what you want to think about is, will the amount of money be more or less? So if you're getting paid $8.25 an hour and you work 9 hours, do you want more money or do you want less money? Of course, you want more money. So what we would have to do for this is multiply. Okay, we would have to multiply for this one. So just a little bit of reviewing for multiplication. When you are multiplying decimals, you set it up. Notice it is $8.25 times 9. So I have a decimal in one of my factors. So when you multiply with decimals, for those of you that need some extra help with multiplying decimals, listen closely. You would count how many places to the right. 1, 2. There are 2 places to the right of the decimal. So then what you do is you multiply as usual, but then what you're going to do is you're going to come back and, as Mrs. Gelderman says, actually boomerang it. You're going to bring it around, start all the way to the right, and count back to the left 1, 2 places. Now, why are we doing that? Because there are 2 places to the right in the decimal when we started. So we multiply as usual, and then with our final answer, we bring our decimal back 2 places and place the decimal. Now it's money, so you definitely always want to remember you should have your dollar sign. So if she works 9 hours, she will make $74.25. For the second part, and now it's asking how much will she make for 20 hours, same thing, $8.25 times 20. What happens here now, there are how many places to the right of the decimal? 1, 2, so there's a total of 2. So I multiply as usual, and then what I do is I take my decimal, I start all the way at the right, and I count back. How many places? 2. So in this case, it's 1, 2. I place the decimal, dollar sign, and I am done. So she would make $165 for 20 hours. Let's go ahead and look at number 3. For number 3, it reads, it cost a homeowner 12 cents a day to power their high-definition television. How much will it cost the homeowners to run the television for 30 days straight? All right, so if I'm looking at question number 3, I'm looking first of all for the question. What is the question asking? The question is asking, how much will it cost? So how much will it cost to run the television for 30 days straight? Okay, so I know that's my question. My question is going to be, how much will it cost? And then the other information in the problem I can see is that it costs 12 cents a day. So if it's 12 cents a day for 30 days, what operation would that be? Am I making the number higher or lower? So 12 cents a day for 30 days, is that 12 cents getting greater? You betcha. So you would set up a multiplication. Try it on your own. Pause the video now. And there you have your final answer of $3.60. Notice again, for those of you, we're multiplying decimals. We have our decimal point here. We move it 1, 2 places to the right. So it's a total of 2 places. So once I multiply and I bring it back here, and I count back 1, 2 places to the left, put my dollar sign, and I'm done. Let's take a look at problem number 4. Number 4 reads, Jimmy bought 3 4/10 pounds of coffee that cost $6.95 per pound. How much did he spend on coffee? All right, so the first thing that I have to answer is, how much did he spend on coffee? I love coffee. I would spend anything on coffee. All righty, what are the numbers that we have to do here? So I have Jimmy bought 3 4/10 pounds, and it cost $6.95 per pound. So when we see per pound, that means for 1 pound. So if it's $6.95 for 1 pound and he's buying 3 4/10 pounds, what operation am I going to do? Exactly, I'm going to multiply. So let's go ahead and set up the multiplication problem and try it on your own. Pause the video and check back for your answer. And here you can see the amount he spent on coffee was $23.63. Now, let's just take it back to the problem for 1 minute. When we multiply $6.95 times 3 4/10, notice there are decimals here. We can move the decimal 1, 2, 3 places total. So what happens is we multiply everything out, and then we come back all the way to the right and bring our decimal. 1, 2, 3 places, place our decimal. Now it's money. So here's something I want you to keep in mind. When it's money, when we have places to the right of the decimal, please know that when there's money, there's only 2 places. So when we start out, it was 23,630. That's not how we write money. We only write money with 2 places to the right of the decimal, so we would just drop this. Now, we drop it because it's a 0. If this was any other number here, we would have to round this number, but we'll talk more about that next time. Question number 5, yoga classes cost $153.86 for 14 sessions. What is the fee for 1 session? So the first thing you want to identify is the question. So what is the fee for 1 session? So if I look at the information in the problem, I can see that it cost $153.86 for 14 sessions. How much would it cost for 1? Anytime you go from a certain number down to 1, that's always, always, always going to be what operation? Good, division. Now, we set up the division like this, 153.86. That goes in the division box. Now we have 14 as the divisor on the outside. Now, if you're using your calculator, I want to just bring to your attention something very, very important. When you are dividing using your calculator, okay, when you divide, this here means the same thing as 153.86 divided by 14. If you're using your calculator, okay, if you're using your calculator, this number here goes in first. So it's this number first, and then you hit divided by, and then the 14. Okay, just be careful. Some boys and girls are switching them around. One more time. If you are using your calculator, the number that is in the division box is the number that goes in the calculator first. Be aware. Go ahead and do the division. And as you see, after you do the division, your final answer is $10.99. Let's look at number 6. It says, Vinny has a piece of rope that is 4 5/10 meters long. He wants to cut it into pieces that are 0 25/100 meters long. How many pieces of ribbon will he have? Well, first of all, you should really change that to rope. So let's go ahead and change that wording to, he's not cutting ribbons and ropes. He's just going to cut a rope. Okay, he wants to cut it in the rope. How many pieces of rope will he have? Okay, I'll add that to my correction book. Okay, so question again. Now we're going to identify the question. How many pieces of rope will he have? If I go back into the problem, I see some key words. Workbook on page 7, there is a whole list of keywords for word problems: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Please refer to them as they will help you. Now, notice that I highlighted some keywords here. One of the most important things that's happening here is that he wants to cut the rope. So if you're cutting something, what are you doing? Yes, exactly. You're breaking it apart. So he starts off with a piece of rope that's 4 5/10 meters long, and he wants to cut it up into 25/100 meters long. So if he's cutting something up, what operation would that be? Correct. And if you look on page 7, you will see that the keywords for this particular problem would be for division. Now, here's the next question. What number goes where? Alrighty, so what's getting broken up? He is cutting 4 5/10, and he's dividing that by 0 25/100. Now, if you put that in your calculator just like that, your calculator is going to do the work. However, you need to set it up for me because it does have decimals in the divisor. So the first number goes inside the division house. That's your dividend. And on the outside goes the divisor. Now, anytime we have a decimal in the divisor, we have to move that decimal until it becomes a whole number. So what we're going to do is we're going to move that decimal 2 places to the right. So here, whatever we do to the outside, we have to do to the inside. So I'm going to move this decimal on the inside over to the right 2 places also. 1, 2. I don't have a number here, so I'm going to annex a 0 as a placeholder. And lastly, the last thing I need to do is to rewrite the problem. So finally, I have 25 divided into 450. Do the math and pause the video. And once you complete the work, you will see that he had 18 pieces of rope. Try number 7 on your own. This is a good one. Try number 7 and number 8 on your own. Please pause the video. For number 8, the question is, how much money did Tom pay in all? So what you had to do for that problem is multiply $1.25 times 35 packs. And again, when you are multiplying with decimals, you count 1, 2 places to the right. When you finish multiplying, notice there's no decimals in any of my work. I bring it down here all the way to the right and I count back 1, 2 places to the left. I put my $sign and he spent $43.75. Try number 9. Pause the video. And here is the answer to number 9. Nice job, boys and girls. Keep in mind, we're always very proud of you and always keep trying your best. You got this.